Okay, so this is for my Hear Me Out project for language arts. It's pretty worrisome that people have been used as living experiments for human curiosity. So hear me out. People shouldn't have their autonomy taken away from them for an experiment. Alexis St. Martin was shot in the side, survived, and was watched for a bunch of his life because his body gave insight to the human digestion process. Um, hear me out. I don't think people should be used as living medical experiments that take away their autonomy, just like Frankenstein's creature was created as a living science experiment. So some more about Beaumont, or not Beaumont, just St. Martin. William Beaumont was the doctor at Fort Mackinac, which is where St. Martin was shot. So he had some credibility to treat St. Martin, but not really. But he did. I'm still against people being used as a living medical experiment. But so St. Martin was shot, and his body created a little window right here, where you could see into his stomach. And so Beaumont, the doctor, kept him as a pet, similar to how Frankenstein's creature was a pet. So in the article that I read, it's from the Smithsonian, it says that Beaumont keeps St. Martin as a house servant and in the evening a guinea pig, which I don't like that. That's personally kind of bad wording. I think that's really disturbing. It's super morally wrong. Also, Beaumont made St. Martin, who cannot read, by the way, sign a contract permitting Beaumont to do essentially anything he wanted to him. So he had this guy who cannot read sign a contract saying that he could do anything he wanted. He didn't actually consent, considering he didn't know what he was getting into, but Beaumont didn't care. This connects to the book because Frankenstein's creature didn't consent to being created or consent to being an experiment. He just kind of was. So it's kind of unethical no matter which way you look at it. Even though Beaumont and Frankenstein were both credited scientists and doctors and such, it's so wrong for them to experiment on living things the way they did, because they both had consciousness, and it was, yeah. So I think it wouldn't be great to know, secondly, I think it wouldn't be great to know that you were being kept and used as an experiment, because you have consciousness, you know that you're a human being and that you should have autonomy, which I guess didn't really apply to Frankenstein's creature, but, so Beaumont promised to sew St. Martin's stomach up, but he never actually did, which kind of is very similar to in Frankenstein. Frankenstein promised to create his creature a mate, but also broke that promise and never did. So Frankenstein's creature ended up being really lonely, just kind of like St. Martin, because St. Martin was kind of being watched for the rest of his life. Everyone was trying to get him to come with them. So yeah, you can see why they were both struggling. Third reason, both the creature and St. Martin were just kind of watched and viewed, and not really viewed as living things. I personally would be so upset if I was just viewed as an experiment and an anomaly. So I don't think most people would want to be experimented on or have their autonomy taken away, because that's just a really bad idea.